Okay, in this video we're going to be talking about the angles of triangles, isosceles triangles, equilateral triangles, and what the angles make up. Okay, so my triangle angle sum theorem, the sum of the measures of the interior, so the inside, that says interior, sorry, angles of a triangle is 180 degrees. All my angles add to be 180, okay? So there is that. Okay, so you got to make sure you add all three angles on the inside. Okay, so my first example here, this little box means 90, so I have to make sure I include that. So I add one angle plus my other angle plus my last angle, and it equals 180. 2x plus 5x gets me 7x. 91 plus 5 is 96. We could subtract 96 and get 84. Divide by 7. We'll get x equal 12. If I wanted to find those actual angle measures, I could plop that 12 back in for both of those x's to find the actual degrees. Okay, so my next one, we are finding the angle measures in it. So I'm going to add x plus 2x plus x minus 20, and it equals 180 degrees. So if I add all my x's, I get 4x. Can add 20. Divide by 4. We got our x to equal 50, and then we got to plug it back in. So this angle is just going to be 50 degrees. This one is 2 times 50, so 100. And this one is 50 minus 20, so 30. Okay, my next one gets a little trickier. So I actually need to find the angles of my big triangle. So I've got three triangles. I've got this one, I've got this one, and then I've got this tiny one. So I need to find all of the angles of my big one, okay, to find it. So we're going to find this one first. We're going to call him y, so don't get mixed up with that x in there. So I've got 65 plus that 90 box plus my other angle y, because I'm doing this one. To find that other angle, it's going to equal 180. So if I subtract my 65 and my 90 to my other side, I get my y to be 25. Okay, now we're going to do the other one. So if I highlight my pink, let's call this one z. So 50 plus 80 plus z equals 180. So subtract the 50, subtract the 80. I'm going to get that z to be 50. Okay, now if I redraw that tiny triangle, this is 50, this is 25. I need to find x now. So I could do 50 plus 25 plus x equals 180. That gets me 75 there. So I could subtract 75 from both sides, and I get x equal 105 degrees. So some of these are going to be a little bit like puzzles. We also have exterior angle theorem. The measure of the exterior angle is greater than either of the measures of the remote interior angles. Okay, along with this, if you add your two inside angles, it will always equal that exterior one. Okay, so when we talk about remote interior, it is the two inside angles not touching that exterior one. Okay, so if I do angle A plus angle B, it will equal angle C. That's going to be my theorem for this one. Okay, so if we use that theorem, right now let's call this question mark x. So if I take my two remote interior ones, the ones not touching the outside one, it should equal that outside one. So to solve this, all we have to do is subtract 65 and get 40. Okay. Lastly, we're going to be talking about equilateral or isosceles triangles again. So we're going to name some things on this. Okay, so this is going to be my vertex. Then we have two congruent legs. So leg, leg, and its base. Okay, which would mean these are my base angles here. Because remember, in isosceles triangles, you always have congruent legs, and then your base angles will also be congruent, or the ones that we can draw the arrows to show that they're congruent to. Okay, so my first one, if I draw these angles, these are congruent. If they're congruent, we can set the equations equal. So I've got 6x minus 21 equals 3x. We're going to get our x's on both sides, so let's subtract that 6x over and get negative 3x. Divide by negative 3, we get 7. Alright, well there's x, but I need to somehow get y. To get y, let's go ahead and find out those angles. Okay, so if I plug in 3 times 7, I know this angle is going to be 21, which automatically makes this one 21. Well, now I have two angles in a triangle, and I need the third one. So if I take those away from 180, I'll get what I want left. So 21 plus y equals 180. That gets me 42. We could subtract 42 from both sides, so my y will be 138 degrees. Okay, my next one, I know these are congruent, so if the one's y, the other one's y. So if I add all my angles, it should still equal 180. I'm only going to work the triangle that has one variable in it, so we're only going to work this one first, and then we can work the other one. Okay, so if I add y plus 126, it should equal 180. Y plus y gets me 2y. Subtract 126, we get 54. Divide by 2, y is 27. Okay, now I need to somehow make the jump into my other triangle. Okay, so if I highlight this, there's one spot I can jump in right here. Okay, that makes a straight line, which is 180. So if I do 180 minus 126, I should get 54. So I know this angle is 54. And I have my other two parts, so x plus 90 plus 54 equals 180. Okay, if I subtract the 90, I'm going to get 90. If I subtract the 54, I'm going to get 36 for x. Okay, my last one. We need to somehow get from one triangle to the other. Okay, I don't have enough, well, I have enough information to get this, so if we want to get that, we'll take away 28 and 90 from 180, and we can kind of figure out what that is. Okay, so that's going to be 62 if I was trying to find that, but I need to somehow jump into this other triangle. So the thing I haven't talked about is the fact that I have two parallel lines. So I have this parallel line, and this transversal. Okay, so with that transversal, I've got alternate interior angles, or the fact that that'll make a right angle. Okay, so alternate interior angles will make this a 28 because alternate interior angles are congruent. Now I've got my three pieces of information from my other triangle that I can work. So all I need to do is subtract 48 and 28 from 180. So if I write it out the long way, 48 plus 28 plus x equals 180. So you're going to subtract both of those guys, and you're going to get x to equal 104.